Hey guys, Ernie here, Paleo Hiker MD, day 7, hole 30, and doing well today. Overall, things have gone pretty well. Was on call again today, got up early, did my rounding, went to church, and had a good day. This afternoon, the kids went over to some friend's house to swim, so that gave my wife and I a little time to relax. I unfortunately had to do some studying. I'm studying for my recertification board for internal medicine. I wanted to take a chance today. I've been trying to think of ways to make these videos a little more interesting, and one of the things I thought about was some days trying to talk a little bit about something important to your health. And I mentioned in a prior video that I'm also board certified in sleep medicine, so I want to talk a little bit about the importance of sleep. Sleep's something that is very misunderstood and very much not appreciated in America in particular. Sleeping too long is almost a sign of weakness. It's, that person sleeps too long, they sleep too much, there's more to live, you sleep your life away, which you can. You certainly can sleep too much. But I think it's pretty rare, the people who actually sleep too much. Most people sleep too little, and the ways that it affects your health negatively are tremendous. Sleep is something we don't understand extremely well. The last 10 to 15 years have been very good from the standpoint of sleep medicine, sleep science, sleep neuroscience. We've understood a lot more. There's one thing that I can guarantee you, and the studies show that across the board. People who have short sleep times, in particular less than 6 hours a night, live shorter lives. They have higher rates of death, all-cause mortality. That could be from so many things, but I think the one thing we do know is that when you don't sleep well and you chronically have an elevated stress in your life, that increases your cortisol levels globally. Cortisol is one of the very important things that has to do with your sleep-wake cycle. And when you are chronically elevated in your cortisol, that's going to lead to insomnia. And when you lead to insomnia, it's going to lead to more problems down the road. Now, of course, that elevated cortisol is also going to increase your chances of developing insulin-dependent diabetes from the model of insulin resistance. So the fact that you don't sleep well can cause stress, it can cause your cortisol levels to go up, and that can actually lead to chronic disease. That's just one pathway where sleeping short amounts at night can lead to an increase in your all-cause mortality. Again, look it up, Google it. It's pretty common sense that if you don't sleep well long-term, you're going to actually end up not living a good life or long life. But the science is there as well. The other thing I'll stress is whether or not you may have an underlying sleep problem, in particular a sleep-related breathing disorder. The most common is obstructive sleep apnea. If you're fatigued, if you're tired, if you're sleepy during the day, if you snore, if your bed partner says that you stop breathing at night, if you have morning headaches very frequently or even infrequently, all these things are potential signs and symptoms of sleep apnea, and I would suggest you talk to your primary care provider about trying to find a way to evaluate yourself for that. And a little bit of a clue into the danger of not sleeping well comes from the fact that untreated obstructive sleep apnea, or central sleep apnea for that matter, increases your risk of heart attack and stroke. It increases your risk of overall mortality. So those two things are tied together. So today's little tidbit about the whole 30 and about generally making your life healthier is make sure you take care of your sleep, because if you don't sleep well, it will lead to problems with your long-term health. So challenges today. Well, we had a little bit of a challenge today in the household. I was working on some stuff in the computer. My wife was getting things ready for the kids for lunch, and I heard her say these words. We bought some vitamin water for the kids, and she was seeing which flavors they may like. It's a vitamin water zero or whatever it might be with no calories. And I heard her say, "Oh, Sid, this one tastes pretty good." I thought, uh-oh. So I went in there, and she had completely forgotten that she's on the Whole30, just absent-mindedly took a sip of the vitamin water. And she looked at me and she said, "Well, it looks like I'm starting on day one of the Whole30 again." And the reality is, as harsh as that might be, I'm proud of her for looking at it that way, because really the Whole30 experience is about 30 days of absolute restrictions of what you eat. Even an accident, even something as simple as going over to your parents' house and them accidentally serving you something not on the Whole30, those are grounds to restart your Whole30. In fact, in the new Whole30 book by Dallas and Melissa Hartwig, they give that example. You went over to somebody's house, your mom's house, you absolutely verified everything that was there. You said, "These are the things I can and can't eat." Mom said, "Absolutely no way I'm going to use any of that stuff." You eat the meal, it's this wonderful meat, and in the middle of it, she drops the bomb that the secret ingredient is soy sauce. And the Hartwigs say, the bottom line is, as much as they'd like to pat you on the back and say, "Hey, it wasn't your fault," you have to restart your Whole30. So the biggest challenge today was simply forgetting. And unfortunately, my wife will be starting again on day one, which is really okay, because she really plans on doing this for a little longer than 30 days anyway, and this is just her excuse to do so. Otherwise, no other major challenges. All right, so what did we eat today? So pretty typical. Morning out the door, heading to the hospital. I ate a peach and a banana. Pretty typical breakfast for me. For lunch, we ate some Whole30 compliant sausage that we found at the local local grocery store. We also had some blackberries and a sweet potato. It was a pretty nice lunch. We had some Whole30 compliant mustard that we were able to kind of dunk our sausage into, and it really was actually really quite tasty. For dinner, we got some of our pasture-raised organic pork chops that we bought at the farmer's market yesterday. I'd set them out to thaw once we got them home yesterday, and we grilled them up on the big green egg, and I can tell you guys, these things were amazing. What I love about it is that they're not afraid to leave the fat on there, and it was a nice big thick rim of fat on the outside of the pork chop, and it really, really was good. It grilled up perfect. Alongside of that, we had some dandelion greens. We've never had them before. They had them at the farmer's market, so I went ahead and got them. I cooked those up with the recipe I found with just with ghee and olive oil, onions, some pepper flakes, and they were an interesting taste. Bitter greens are difficult for my wife and I, but we did eat them, and really weren't that bad. And lastly, we had some apples. Pretty commonly, we'll cook up apples. Probably not the first time during this Whole30 we've done it, but we get some ghee and apples and a little cinnamon, and we're good to go. We have a really nice side dish of some apples, and it tastes extremely good. So that's what we ate today on our Whole30 Day 7. All right, guys, so that is the end of Day 7. 1 week, kind of a little milestone, not really, but kind of feels like it. 7 days on the Whole30, and moving on to the second full week. We're looking forward to it. We're getting past it. Of course, my wife is kind of starting over, but you know, ultimately for me, it doesn't really matter. She's going to keep on going past these 30 days. But anyway, the spirit of the Whole30 is alive and well in her. A simple mistake, but it moves on. So I just encourage you guys, if you're out there doing it with me, following the Whole30 with us, just keep doing it. These next couple of days are going to be interesting. We're really getting towards the last bad days. Days 8 through 11, we still have some days that may be difficult for you. I've had a good time so far. I felt well, but any day, maybe something will happen and I'll feel poorly. So I encourage you guys to stick with it. Understand the importance of this in your long-term life and in your long-term health. Always treat your health as you would treat your retirement. Take care of it, coddle it, make sure you have something at the end so that you don't live your whole life thinking you're going to have one thing and then you end up sick and having problems you don't need. So until tomorrow, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate all you guys following along, all the comments, and see y'all tomorrow as we continue our Whole30 journey.